please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. First item on the agenda is public comment. It is the first 15 minutes, and the board won't take any action on anything discussed, but might put it on a further future agenda. Since Mark left the room, I am guessing we don't have any unless someone online, I don't think she wants to give us public comment either. This meeting is being recorded by the town of West Boylston. Next item on the agenda, to review and vote to approve the warrants for the period covering October 2nd, 2025 to October 15th, 2025 as printed in the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is the public hearing to consider amending the following fees. I'm surprised there are not many people here because we're having a public hearing. I know they're very intense here. We don't have a line. Okay. Heather, would you like to, I know it's in our packet, we have it amended the weights and measure fees charged to businesses, scales, gas pumps, amending the ambulance billing rate, and the fire department fees and private details. I'm guessing that's why the chief's here.
Correct.
Does anyone have questions about any of these?
I understand it hasn't been done in a long time. Is there a reason why?
Which item? Weights and measures?
Yes, that one, weights and measures.
I guess I probably should.
I believe that it is something that has gone unnoticed. And it was really only when we realized that that account started running in a deficit that we took a look. I give that credit to Faye. This was something that was realized prior to my coming into the community. However, it clearly needs to be done. We are only looking to bring it up to the current state standards, and they are the ones who are on our behalf completing the inspection. So I think it makes sense and is a very clear set of fees, and I recommend that you adopt them so we don't go into deficit again this year.
And I didn't read the public hearing notice. I see David has it at the end. Do you want to actually read it? It's the next one over. Oh, right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just go ahead and read through the whole thing.
Yep.
Okay. Public notice is hereby given in conformity with the requirements of the general bylaws of the town of West Boylston, Chapter 86, public hearing and notice that the Select Board will meet on Wednesday, October 15th, 2025 at 6 p.m. for the purpose of 1. Amending the weights and measure fees charged to businesses with scales and gas pumps. 2. Amending the ambulance billing rates. 3. Amending the fire department fees for private details. The meeting will be held in the Select Board meeting room number 210, located 140 Worcester Street, West Boylston. For additional information or to review the proposed changes, please contact the Town Administrator's Office at 774-261-4012. All interested persons, groups, agencies, are invited to attend and participate. This meeting will be held hybrid with Zoom.
Thank you, sir.
On the weights and measures, is there a proposed cadence that they should be revisited every 2 years, every 3 years? Does the state have a proposed cadence?
So I think it's good practice that the Select Board reviews all of their fees on a regular schedule, whether it be once a year. You could align that with your reorganization, perhaps taking it up in the summer when things are a little quieter. It'd be a good agenda item to have all of your fees.
Thank you.
Just get a look at them.
And do we know how long this gap was between us amending them now to the prior time?
I believe it was early 2000s.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah,
It's been quite a long time.
a number of years.
So I
And-
think we annually get a contract from the state on this, and that's when we find out what they're charging us.
Okay. And are we capped at how much we can increase? Is it within, so similar to the no more than 2.5% increase? Or is there we set it as we choose? Because my concern is, it's great to get it up to modern level. It hurts to think of all the potential tax revenue dollars that we've left on the table by not adjusting this over the past potentially 20 years.
So this is just fee-based, so they go out and inspect, and they charge us a fee to inspect, and then we are just reciprocating that fee cost equally back
Okay.
to the people that have the,
So it's a net zero.
it's a net zero for the town, because the state's doing the inspection, but it just passes through us.
So, but it should be net zero, but because we haven't updated it in that time window, it would not have been net zero. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
So the 2024 deficit was $2,000 and $2,029. The 2025 deficit was $3,700. The fees were unchanged for 20 years, so clearly early 2000s. And I guess the fee schedule was set August 1st, 2003. So the proposed increases are still quite moderate in comparison to what.
Sure.
So scales over 100 were $65 in 2003. We're proposing $109. It's a $50 increase, but there are a few things that have only gone up $50 in the last 20 years.
Phew, thank you.
Since this part's open to the public, does anyone in the public have anything? All right, so not that you guys aren't important, but we'll close after. Do you want to come up, state your name, address for the record for your Christmas card?
Basically, I guess the fire chief, since he's here, he can
Which-
probably answer. Dave Feeney, 86 Sterling Street. I'm assuming that amending the ambulance billing rates and the fire department fees for private, that's an annual thing, correct? I mean,
We haven't
do
done
this-
it in 20 years, so
We haven't?
that's what they were
No,
just saying, right?
well, these are the weights and measures have not been in
Okay.
20 years.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Annual?
You know, so it's every year. So
Yeah.
this is nothing new.
No.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Any other public comment? If hearing no public comment, I will entertain a motion to close the public portion of the meeting for public comment, or we'll just leave it open.
So
All right.
moved.
Or a second, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no one's opposed? Good. All right, now, does anyone have additional questions on this? Go ahead, David.
Do we need to do roll call now that we have that all members are present?
I don't think we do if we're all sitting here. It's only for Zoom, right? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Who
Was
seconded
there-
that? I'm sorry.
Oh,
You
I don't know.
actually motioned, Jay second. All right. Raj, do you have any questions on 1 through 3? Jay?
No, just a point of clarification, these weights and measures, that's essentially the same rates that they're paying. If I have a scale in West Boylston, I'm paying the same rate as I'm paying in Shrewsbury or Worcester.
Yes, we took them right from the mass.gov weights and measures site.
Vanessa, do you have any questions?
Nope.
David?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to amend the three items here for fees and rates?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Raj?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Vanessa?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything else on here for the fire chief? Not that he doesn't want to stay.
I'll be training down at the reservoir, so as soon as you're done with me, I'm heading to the water.
Do you have any questions about the two articles on the town meeting warrant that, I mean, I'm not trying to skip too
No,
far
listen,
ahead,
I
but-
love skipping around. I was worried we weren't going to get a chance to skip around, so hold
So
on.
he's Article 14 and he's Article 17. If you had questions, Article 14 is increasing the rates of the comp scale for his non-exempt employees, which roughly translates to the very few number of call firefighter EMTs that are on the department. We discussed what the financial impact of that article will be. We anticipate that in FY '26, it'll be for the remainder of the fiscal year, a couple of $100 a month. Again, very few employees. His monthly call firefighter payroll, you said was about $7,000. And this is just an increase, bringing those rates, again, it's probably something that hasn't been touched in 20 years, given the $12 per hour that we are offering for that
I was going to
first
say,
step.
it's still not even minimum wage for Massachusetts. I mean, it's better than 4 years ago when I started, because that was the first time I realized that we didn't pay these folks minimum wage to run into burning buildings. But we're getting closer. Wish we were a little bit closer more, but this is what I wish we're stepping in the right direction to get there. I don't have questions about this one. I'll go with David. Do you have questions about 14?
None for 14.
Vanessa? Jay?
No, no.
Raj? No. Okay, and the next one is, sorry.
Article 17, it's on the very last page. And this is one I am going to defer to Mark. I was practicing earlier, but I think you still say it in a more articulate and more brief, so.
Mark Sadowski, Fire Chief, Emergency Management Director. Article 17 is a component of Chapter 32, which is the Massachusetts laws pertaining to the retirement of firefighters. We have previously adopted Section B, and so you'll see that it's like Chapter 32, Section 4B, so on and so forth. We had previously done B. Last year, we did B in 3/4. This is B and a half. This is the middle one. It's really kind of semantics getting around it all, why we didn't just do it all in one shot, I don't know.
Do we have any more? Is the next meeting, we're going to have
No,
B.236?
nothing that's anticipated. What this specifically speaks to is for people that were call firefighters in the town of West Boylston or the town that adopts this provision,
Yep.
that has gone on to work as a career member in another community. Upon their retirement, they have the opportunity to buy back some of their call time, and it's in a pro rata formula against, what they actually worked to what that would equivalent to as a full-time member.
You'll be
So,
at town meeting to talk about this, right?
what's that?
You're going to be at town meeting if someone asks a question on this.
I'm hoping to be available. I'm actually supposed to be in Philadelphia for our firefighter training, so.
Well, if this doesn't get
but-
passed, it's
Yeah.
because you left us.
I will at least have a delegate there at a minimum, but it is, it's pretty straightforward. So basically, for the few people that worked in West Boylston as a call firefighter that now works somewhere else, gives them the opportunity at their own expense to buy back the portion that they should have paid into the retirement system, and then they get credible service for that time.
I have one question that I'm not going to say politically correct. Does this cost us money that I'm going to get yelled at for?
I was just going to say,
after the
no,
meeting?
no, no.
No,
The
that's
bottom
it.
line is that there is no cost, especially for firefighters that worked here previously as a call firefighter and have now taken a position as a full-time firefighter in another community. Those retirements would belong to those other communities.
And then do we offer the inverse?
We would,
Yeah, because it
if the town that they're coming from is adopted.
had adopted it, yeah. So the challenge, right now, there's a bill going through the Senate and the House, and I believe it's already actually passed both. It's at Ways and Means right now. to make this a state law. This is kind of a workaround for it in the interim. They do expect it to pass hopefully in the next couple of years, if not sooner. But by adopting these provisions, it allows the language to go through specific to these buybacks, so. And Worcester Regional Retirement is the only one that's really been challenging the language, so that's why we have to adopt all these sections.
Well, that's Worcester. Sewer problem, so. Do you have any questions? Feeling awful spicy. David?
I guess follow on is then, pending the state ratifying their version of this at that time, then we could remove this at town meeting from our specific language and just point to the state at that point.
You could, yeah, it would be a moot point at that point.
Okay.
Raj? No. Jay? Vanessa?
No questions.
I have no questions. Before we let you leave though, can you tell Bob that I don't want to be a call firefighter? I just want to text him to know if there's something happening at the reservoir. When you
Okay.
see him?
All right, when I see him.
All right, do I have a motion? Or I don't need a motion, I'm just in the motion mood. You're free, this is great, no one else has questions, and good luck at town meeting if you have me talk about this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, I have two people here, so do I want to do?
Sure. Ron is here to talk about ADA when we get to ADA. You can do insurance.
Do you want me to do insurance after Ron? Or Ron? Yeah. Come on up. You know what? First one to speak. I don't know how many slides the other person has, so.
Not too many.
Hi, Ron. ADA is not a hot topic here in West Boylston, so.
Correct.
We get name and address.
Go ahead, name and address. Sorry, Ron.
You were asking for an update on,
I just need your name and address, sorry.
Ron Menard, 5 Meadowbrook Drive, Chairman of the Disability Commission.
Thank you, Ron. Yes, I was asking about the ADA work list because I think we've done a ton of work and we're just not good at promoting the good things we've done. So this is an opportunity to say, we got this checklist of a self-evaluation transition plan and there were a bunch of action items and
Yes.
how are we doing?
I can speak to the Disability Commission's progress to date, since I'm one of the original members, and also the problem we now face. But before that, I want to mention that I met with Chuck Goss 2 weeks ago and learned of his efforts to make the changes that are recommended in the transition plan. And he has completed several items, all of which didn't cost much, if any, money. And that's where the problem now lies. The Disability Commission itself is 4.25 years old now. We also have been picking the low apples on the tree, things that don't cost any money. Our biggest accomplishment has been a nearly 2-year effort to clean up the town's website. And that we did complete while Jen was the town administrator. We also have a grievance procedure, which was another issue in the transition plan, and one that also allows us front row, how should I put it? Because we have a transition plan, because we have a disability commission and a grievance procedure, those 3 items qualify us for grants from MOD, M-O-D, Mass Office of Disability. We were successful 3 years ago in getting a $75,000 grant. Unfortunately, Jen had chosen the project, which was to be a curb cut at the high school. Yep. We learned very quickly not to apply for grants involving schools. And the main reason is the the grant is announced in the fall. It sunsets on June 30th the following year.
Okay.
Any project to do with schools need to be done while school is out.
Yes, I remember, okay.
So that becomes a big problem. The other reason we're avoiding schools is because, just like we spoke last night, the possibility of building a new high school. Why throw money piecemeal at issues with the high school when we're likely to eventually demolish the place and start from scratch? This time, we have, with Heather's expertise in filing for an application and making a very compelling case for correcting all of the issues with the bandstand common. We're awaiting the result. I think we've got a decent chance, but who knows? And if that transpires, that'll be a very good thing, because we can do that, you know, next spring, before next June, quite easily. As far as Chuck Goss's work, he has kept a record, which he gave me, of all of the changes he has made, again, most of which didn't cost any money. So we're now at a crossroads where the next group of issues that we wish to pursue regarding the transition plan is going to cost some money. But I think we can knock off several projects with a $10,000 appropriation. And my plan is to have Chuck attend one of our upcoming meetings, if we do get the appropriation, to prioritize, to decide amongst ourselves which projects we should do with that money.
I have a bunch of questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you lead on that, because I'm just
Yeah,
thinking.
no, yeah. So one of the items in the transition plan was that the town of West Boylston would allocate $10,000 a year for the ADA Commission to have seed money to
Yep.
continue projects. For all sorts of reasons, that has not occurred. Ron has brought this to my attention pretty regularly.
Yes.
He is a strong advocate for the work that the commission does and would like to do. They are not good at sitting still. When we return to the warrant, there is a $10,000 appropriation in Article 5 for this work. And again, you have the list that Chuck has been working from. Chuck Goss is our facilities director. And I appreciate the fact that we're now collaborating, that we have the Disability Commission working with facilities on these specific issues to make sure that they're motivating the town's work. I disagree a little with the idea that we're not able to or willing to look at any of the school projects. I agree that some of the larger projects are simply outside of our scope, but there are small things that we can do also at the schools that would make a big difference, and also with our park. So, but yes.
I think it's important, like I said last night, I think it's very important that we continue to show intent, both for the potential for liability down the road, a liability suit. We can show that we've been conscientious about making things more accessible for our disabled residents. But more importantly, we are a small town. We're supposed to have a big heart. Let's put a little bit of money where our mouths are and continue work to make this town more accessible to our disabled residents.
So I have a question here, because I've been on this board 4 years, and a proponent of this, while being here, was we got this done because we heard a lot of, right when that started to get formed was because of some of this. And one of the items that we took on was hiring a facilities director because we had this massive checklist and that's kind of why I pushed. They were going through this to rectify this along with the website. But I have to honestly say, and I know you weren't here, unless I'm wrong, no one's ever asked us for the $10,000. Like it's never been on this table before, so.
That's true.
It's,
I never saw it in the transition plan, but it's right in there that the town is highly recommended to appropriate at least $10,000 annually. Now, we haven't needed the $10,000 to this point because
Yep.
there've been enough
we've gotten a lot of it done with that.
hanging fruit.
So it's been formed for 3 years. Is it 3 years or are you going on your fourth? Because I think it was right around when I started, right?
I'm sorry?
I said you're 3 years or 4 years, because it was right when I got on this board, I think 3. So, knowing, I think in the future, if you don't get your 10,000 or anyone on there, they should come here or just email Mark and he'll come to public comment and let us know that you didn't get it. But I'm guessing in this article, maybe ahead, we're looking at appropriating maybe $30,000 since we're missing 10 from each year to then, because I would assume that you're working with this facility person and the town administrator to say, we knew we would get to an area where it wasn't, a facilities director couldn't do it himself, and we would need to spend money, but that's what I'm thinking. That's how this works, this little
Yeah,
triangle? Okay.
That's how it should best work. We were never
Okay.
even notified, our Disability Commission had no clue that Chuck Goss was making changes per the transition plan. We had no clue. Jen never told me that. And we should be working together so that we don't cross paths and double up on the same issue.
I was gonna say, Faye, I'm looking at you, because Chuck came and presented that whole, it's in here, he presented dates on it. All right,
So one more item, because I know that this is was brought to me as a member concern. Could you speak a little bit about the progress that we're making on the sign, the parking, the signs and for town-owned properties, the parking accessibility
The
signs?
handicap parking signs, I called Paul Osterberg again today to see if there's been any movement on that issue. And he doesn't even know who told him that it's a job that needs to be done. I've gone to the ADA website to see if there are any significant changes to handicap parking signs. I couldn't find anything on the website. So I don't know where the director,
let's-
he says he thinks it came from you.
It did. So
But
our
why?
triangle sometimes doesn't connect. So we're going to revisit that. Ron, I'm glad I brought it up, but I'm also sorry I brought it up. I was hoping that we were going to, you were going to tell me that we've found 5 signs, the 5 signs have been ordered and they're going up.
Is it because the old ones are faded?
No, so the design has changed, and I think we looked at the website and we saw that the design had changed and there was going to be some,
On the ADA
there was
website?
going to be a field trip, yes. We will revisit this, but it gives us a reason to get together next week.
Yeah, that'll be a minor issue that we can overcome.
Absolutely, thank you, okay.
My biggest concern, if we don't get the appropriation, is that the Disability Commission will atrophy. There'll be nothing to do. There'll be virtually nothing to pursue. And without momentum, I think people will lose interest pretty quickly. Members will lose interest pretty quickly. So that's where we stand. I think it's pretty obvious, I think, that the town should grant the appropriation. $10,000 is just a drop in the town's annual budget. I know money's tight, I know, but $10,000 is not a lot of money nowadays.
So if we were to do this on a yearly basis, a $10,000, where would it sit in the budget?
With facilities.
Facilities, okay. And then is it a line item now, or can we put that in so that we make sure we don't forget every year? And would that be like something that we need to approve someplace?
It would not hurt to maybe talk to Leslie about how we can appropriately earmark that money within the facilities budget.
I was
for-
appointed
That is
the-
specific for ADA.
I was
improvements.
appointed the treasurer years ago of the Disability Commission, so I can talk to her.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then my second question is, I see this list, is there a list specifically for schools?
So there's a full, so if you go to page 39 and the actual transition plan, it has, well, there is a list for,
But there is one for schools?
yeah, so
Okay.
development program actions. See,
All right.
and there's pictures in here, because it was like toilet paper holders that were an inch away from certain things in bathrooms.
And I believe that some of that work has been accomplished
Yep.
by the school's facilities staff.
That's my next question. So they're also working on their stuff too? And then, is there any, like, timeline that do we have to adhere to something, or is this just as we can? Okay.
It's a self-evaluation transition plan.
Transition plan
The
highly
self-evaluation.
recommends it. It doesn't specifically say it's something that needs to be corrected. But
And it changes. So one of the things we have the problem with is every year, just like everything, things change. The signs, the parking signs, they're updated, so you have to be keeping up on that. I looked at this, Heather, what you gave me, and out of the items in the last few years, it looks like, if I added right, 55 of those items that were part of our action plan have been corrected. And looking at a few other communities, because I get a lot of hate around this topic, we seem to be a community that actually does a lot of this. A lot of them haven't even begun to start it or even acknowledge it, which is,
I did a study
surprising.
last year for the purpose of looking for meeting subjects to
Yep.
keep the meetings lively. So I went online and checked on 15 different towns. The only town out of all 15 that impressed me at all was Sudbury. They seem to be ahead of the game. They're kind of where we are now,
Yep.
gotten past the bylaws, gotten past the grievance procedure, and gotten the ball rolling, and they're doing things. Neither Holden, Sterling, nor Boylston, our surrounding towns, have a disability commission.
or any type of
Don't have any
audit.
transition plan.
Nope.
We're way ahead of the game in our area, in central Mass. There are some towns like Natick and Framingham, bigger city-like towns that do have disability commissions, but my sense as of last year was that they're just getting going.
Yeah,
They don't really know what their role is. And we made the same mistake initially. We thought part of our role was to go out with tape measures, to physically see what was wrong and to affirm that the work that was done correctly. That is not within our purview. That is the engineers or the town's DPW engineer to do that. And so those towns are still trying to figure out, were trying to figure out what their role was. They were still on the ground floor. So we're way ahead of the game, in my opinion.
that's, well, when we had started this, there weren't any communities that we had that had done this, so we were kind of flopping around for a little bit because none of us knew what to do. So I kind of feel better that we actually are further down the list, and there's only one other area, Sudbury, that actually has anything. But we still have a lot to do. I would say the things I do know about, and I wish we were all like this, the light department just built a new building to correct all their issues, which was convenient. Maybe they'll build a few other buildings for us, and then we'll be fine too.
We'll see.
And we built a park to correct the other issue, but it sounds like maybe bridging DPW, this facilities person, the new facilities guy I met last night up at the school, and ADA together on, like, even if it's a quarterly thing. My only concern is, I'm fine with putting the $10,000 in that account as long as it is earmarked for, I don't want to hear you know, God, Kim's gonna kill me, but the, the senior center wanted new tables. So we had this money in the account, so we bought new tables that were lighter, and then I get yelled at for that
Do you
after.
think Ron is gonna let that happen?
Listen, I realize, but a lot of things that I think are true, then I find out sometimes don't happen. But, okay, that's my only question. David, I think you have questions?
Yeah, so you highlighted some of the challenges earlier on with trying to specifically target grants for schools. I'm curious, has your group had a chance to meet with the new superintendent to see where you all might be able to find some maybe new ideas or new methods that you could work collaboratively with the school to address any of their needs?
I have not. I've been under the impression that the school pretty much runs independently, but that may not necessarily be the case. Now, again, do we spend money on the high school?
No, so I guess my advice, sir, would be meet with the superintendent. I think he's very aware of the state of the facilities, of what needs to be addressed maybe urgently, which ones maybe are better left to sit for a certain time period to figure out where that the project that you're referring to goes. But I think you'll find Dr. Riley very engaged and very aware of the school's challenges, and I think he could probably find a great way to help your group and him.
We can make that hookup.
Yes, speaker.
Then your next meeting will be exciting.
I'm sorry?
Your next meeting will be exciting if you have him as a guest speaker.
We'll invite Dr. Riley and the school facilities person to your next
I've
meeting.
already tentatively scheduled, well, our next meeting is next Tuesday. The agenda's already
That's right, right.
in stone. Next month's agenda includes a representative of the American Red Cross talking about emergency preparedness as it affects and relates to disabled people. We met with the fire chief a few months ago about emergency preparedness, and there are a few holes that still needs to be plugged in that arena as described in the transition plan.
So we'll
We
add.
can work it
yeah.
out. I can push Timothy Sheppel out another month from the American
We've
Red.
been working on the Red Cross issue for months now. Let's check that box. But we will make
January is
sure
a
that
good
we
time.
get, yes.
Absolutely.
It might be good to invite the Board of Health people, because I know at that last all boards meeting, they were all like, we don't have any emergency
Well, I think
preparedness
that came
stuff.
from one of the board members who's also one of the Disability Commission members, Mary Beth O'Day. She's on both boards, and they recently went through that locker that they have
Yeah,
of equipment designed for emergency preparedness, and there's nothing at all in there
where is
that's...
that locker, may I ask? Is this a magic locker that's in a bunker that no one knows about?
Go
The
ahead,
locker,
Ron.
I think it sits behind Major Edwards, doesn't it? I don't know, I've never seen it, but they did an inventory of what's in it, and there's nothing in there
No.
that would
I'm
help.
going to drive there tomorrow to see if there's
But we're,
something back there.
we've identified a list, and we've actually reached out to and we will continue to reach out with the Wachusett Recycling Center, because a lot of equipment comes through there that we can.
It's used equipment, and we just have to find a place to store it, and I would say probably the senior center would be the best bet.
I love that idea.
Oh,
And I think as an aside, when prioritizing what we do with that 10,000, if we get it, I think the focus, I think it'd be a good idea to keep the focus on the senior center, because that's where most of our disabled people frequent, the elderly.
you know what? You answered all my questions. I'm gonna do all of the rest of them to myself.
Does the board have a better, I guess, understanding of the work
Yes.
that is being done, and that we're trying to be as collaborative, obviously,
It's a team, and
right.
the more help we can give each other, the better off the town is. Very simple.
If I can ask, sorry, and part of this is my ignorance. So this list of items that I glanced over, do we have that list publicly on the website so that way the public are fully aware and
The
then,
transition plan is on the website.
and then it shows the progress that has been accomplished as well?
No, but that was one of the keys of why I was hoping, you sent this list to us, which was
Yeah.
great.
We can,
So we can
we
match
can,
it up, but
yeah, we can work on a transition
Progress report?
progress report that is maybe not as colorful as the document that we
That,
shared, but it.
yeah, because I think,
Yeah.
you know, this sounds like amazing work getting accomplished, lots of common sense, low-hanging fruit to make our town more accessible to all. I think we're just, I think it's been pointed out, not always the best at sharing and disseminating that information. So it would be great to make sure that everyone's aware of the work that your committee's been accomplishing.
I think you're, you produced a thought in my mind based on what you just said, that at some point soon, we need to keep a record of the items that we have corrected. Because eventually I won't be around and Chuck Goss won't be around, and right now, we're the two that have that information.
I'm not gonna be around either, so I'll be with you guys somewhere in the
So
sun.
there's another action item for the commission.
Yeah.
There'll be no atrophy on that commission. You've already identified 3 or 4 projects
Yeah.
for you to do, so.
That's great. They could take this color-coded one to that document and then, yep, okay. All right, does anyone other have any, okay.
I think, it's all started with this, from the school, the ADA issue. Before then, even our town, we did not do anything on the ADA. So it's all started from the school. And also, when you say we need to focus more on the senior center,
That's just my opinion. I think we need to
I
spread
agree.
it around.
I agree, but at the same time, we have a list on a different department, so we may have to focus on other places too.
Absolutely.
So if you say, I'm going to focus on senior center, then
I
the
think-
school, there are, some of them are watching it. So they will say, why you are skipping the school? Just a, thought.
It's a matter of priority. The money will go to where it should go first. In the Disability Commission's mind, as well as in Chuck Goss's mind, as well as in the ADA coordinator's mind. So we will spread the money, the money around. I think one of the simplest and least expensive items in the transition plan right now is a new countertop in the fire station. It's supposed to be no higher than 36 inches, and it's a 45-inch counter. We could hire a carpenter for probably $300 to go in within a day and rebuild it.
Yes.
Something that simple. That's not the senior center. So there are projects I think we need to prioritize as we sit down, meaning myself, Heather, and Chuck Goss, to decide which projects should be done first.
Real quick, so you have 4, you have 4 people on the commission and 2 open seats.
There are 4 people currently on the commission, if that's your question. I have a
Yep.
hearing disability,
Oh, no, you're fine. So there's
even with
4,
hearing aids from being in a rock band for too many years. So I'm having trouble.
no problem. So 4 members are on the commission. I do see one name I know that does have used to have a child in the school system, and there's 2 vacant seats.
The problem with that, the problem with attracting new members is that the stipulation states in Mass General Laws 40B that the members have to be disabled.
Or they have to have a.
That really cuts
Or
down on the
immediate
number of
family
people that are
member
available.
with a disability.
They did join a couple of members and then they backed out.
All right, I don't have any other questions. I thank you so much for coming, and I look forward to seeing that inventory list.
One other
Thanks.
thing,
Oh.
Ron, are you going to be there on the town meeting? Maybe you can speak on that.
I could. Well, when that article comes up, if there's any debate, I'd be happy to speak on behalf of the disability.
There is a
Commission.
question arises.
Yeah. Good to go?
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Be happy to
If
come
you want to
by.
stay, we're going to do insurance next. It's very exciting. Very exciting. I can't wait.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right, the floor is going to be yours. I can't wait any longer to hear about the great rates we're going to get. No? All right, please state your name and address because you're not getting a Christmas card if they're too bad.
Thank you. Ken Lombardi, NFP, live in Boylston, Massachusetts.
I just wanted it, I don't know.
Duly noted. Thank you for meeting with me this evening. We're going to go over what's going on with the health insurance renewal for January 1st. So just as a reminder, right, our health plans have two anniversaries. Our active employees renew each July 1st. And our seniors, which are Medicare-covered seniors, their plans renew on January 1st of 2026. I believe you passed out or provided this in the packet. So for the board tonight, let's kind of focus on the bottom half of the outline. We can address the top half after we get done with the seniors. So we are in possession of the senior plan renewal from the health insurance provider with his.
I'm sorry, can I pause you for one quick?
Sure.
I apologize. Do you have this? Do you have a paper copy of this? I'm sorry.
It came yesterday in a separate email.
There's not a paper copy, right?
There's not paper. Okay, thank you.
I
Sorry.
have to look at my,
I apologize.
It's in the drive though, right? It's in that, okay.
And I can make copies?
I don't-
Anybody would like?
Give everybody a minute to see if we can get it up on the screen.
Is it called
Scanned second.
the second? No.
No.
West Boylston retiree renewal?
Yes.
Okay,
Success?
success.
Yes, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. So, again, what we're informing the board about is the renewal action for the senior plan. So just as a reminder, these plans renew each January 1st. This covers the town's retirees, so those members that qualify for retiree health insurance. We have two plan options through Blue Cross Blue Shield offered from Maya, the health insurance provider. The Blue Cross Medics is the larger health plan. There's about 111 retirees on that plan, husband and wives. And the Blue Cross Blue Shield Manageable for Seniors is the other plan option. It's about 90 or so retirees on that plan. So we have about 200 retirees in question. So the renewals this year, they're still on the high end, 15.99% on the MedX, which is a Medicare supplement, and 11.9% on the Manageable for Seniors. So the difference between those two plans, the MedX is something referred to as a Medicare supplement, has no area requirements for residency, has no co-pays. Essentially what this means is anyone who's on the plan can go to any healthcare provider in the country that accepts Medicare. This plan works well for folks that don't necessarily live in the service area of Massachusetts for the majority of the year. The other plan, Manageable for Seniors, is less costly, but it does require that the retirees use a particular member, a provider within the Blue Cross Blue Shield HMO service area, which is all of Massachusetts. So generally speaking, it is lower because it's a network plan. It does have some slightly higher copays. I did provide you with sort of a sample of what we received with other area groups that are in exactly the same plan through Maya Blue Cross Blue Shield. You can see West Boylston, a little bit on the high end as far as the actual rate at $545.86 for the MedX and $467.46 for the Manageable for Seniors. The rate increase at 15.99 is sort of in line with what we've seen with other communities. The reasons for the still continued high increases in healthcare should not become as a surprise. We talked about this last year. The Inflation Reduction Act had an impact on cost shifting from the government to health plans. That was one angle that had a negative impact. An example of this is the government limited copays for prescription drugs for retirees from $8,000 a year down to $2,000, and that was last year. We're also starting to see continued uptick in claims and loss ratio. We actually have a 100% loss ratio on this particular plan with the health insurance provider. So in other words, the retirees have incurred just as many claims as they have paid between you and them in premium. And this doesn't even account for sort of the Blue Cross Blue Shield administrative expenses. So there is justification, if you will, for the rate increase. Trend is still sort of high. The good news is it's lower this year for a rate increase than it was last year. The bad continues to be at a high rate of inflation. We don't necessarily see this improving significantly over the next year or so. We certainly don't recommend the town consider any major changes. Any changes to co-pays or cost sharing would have de minimis impact on the rate. And it's just because of the nature of our program with Medicare being primary. By the way, the prescription drug portion of this plan actually increased more than the 15.99%. But again, our seniors, about half of their cost is medical, and about the other half of their cost is prescription drug incurred claims. So we are seeing exactly the level of increase that everybody else is seeing. The interesting thing is, at this rate level, we are not even close to what we've seen for some other communities in Massachusetts. I've got the good fortune to deliver a $700 rate to a bunch of communities in Massachusetts. So it does pale in comparison, but clearly this does benchmark. And I'm not necessarily recommending that the town consider any changes. We are tethered to Maya, right? So we can't unbundle the seniors from the active plan. It's all part and parcel to our relationship. So we really don't have a lot of options, if you will.
When you say that, no
Tethered.
one is tethered to anything, so
Yeah,
I want to be careful
Let
when we
me,
say that.
let me rephrase it, Christina, you're right. As long as we're with Maya, our senior plan goes with it.
Yep.
If you decided, and we could consider this, during the spring to maybe do an RFP, for instance, and we would consider leaving Blue Cross, Harvard, or Mass General, the senior plan could then therefore transition. So you're absolutely correct.
I understand insurance rates go up, we're dealing with it at my company, it's just one of those things, but I think with the climbs we saw from even this last time and this one, not to add more work to everything we're doing, but I think it's starting to become significant. And I don't think we, from the history, have done an RFP in a very, very long time. And I think to do justice, we need to look at something. This isn't, even if it's just to inform the community that we have vetted other options.
When the insurance advisory committee met
Yesterday.
was it only yesterday? It was only yesterday. We reviewed the senior rates, obviously, in preparation for tonight's meeting, but we did talk a little bit about the active employees, and it's a strong recommendation from the insurance advisory committee that we do an RFP.
Okay.
So that.
I don't want to give anyone less, but I also think
I think it's important that we see what's out there, and.
maybe there's something better for the employees
Right.
or the retirees that we're not taking advantage of.
So the fact that it's the employees that are asking
Mhm.
for it, I think
Nice.
is significant.
Yeah. All right. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. Not to say anyone's not doing a good job, but this is just something, we're so small. But also the loss ratio that you were mentioning. I know a few years ago, we talked a little bit about falls or things for maybe teachers or things that were happening up at the school that people were getting hurt. Some of the teachers were out and doing trainings. I don't remember, maybe 3 years ago, there was some kind of discussion on it. Do we do any like safety trainings? I think Jen did one like,
Maya offers regularly
So regular,
opportunities.
okay.
And we do get credit for that,
Or do- okay.
if we participate.
That is property liability,
It is
though, not health
Yeah.
insurance, just so you know,
Yeah.
it falls off, but the loss ratio, that's where
Yeah.
that was discussed as well.
Okay.
So the loss ratio that we're speaking about for the seniors is the 100%. Wait till we get into active. Wait till that discussion.
All right.
So, and I think that the bottom line, it was about $30
Yeah,
for
it's
the
not
senior.
terribly significant impact, and I'm not being coy here, is only about $360 a year in premium increase for the members. So it's not necessarily insignificant, but it's not dramatic. But Heather's right, our active employee plan is very much under scrutiny right now. It's not running well.
Okay. Sorry, I just
want to manage expectations.
I just think
This is the easy
This
conversation.
is, okay.
So-
David, go ahead.
So, you said, I think there are roughly around 200 people on, spread across these plans. And these are is it former both town employees and teachers, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Or just,
No,
okay.
it's both. Yep.
Okay. And this is just once they hit retirement age, then this becomes the option, is that correct?
65 and older and retired would
Okay.
be on Medicare. They're entitled, if they're drawing a pension, to continue health insurance.
Okay,
But David, I think the question that you're asking is also whether or not there are retirees who are not considered seniors on this plan, and the answer would be yes.
okay, so it's,
So if somebody retired in their 50s or
Right.
early, then they would be included in this plan,
okay,
but they may not be considered seniors and eligible for the Medicare.
okay, thank you. And then seemingly, we've not drastically increased the number of town employees, probably not more than 10% delta over the past 50 years. So going forward, we wouldn't expect to see a significant number of change in the number of employees on this plan, in theory.
No, through
without-
attrition, there'd be a sort of leveling out. We kind of get to a level and it stays there, if you will.
Okay. Cool. Thanks. I was just curious if essentially we should be expecting to see, we're anticipating, we've got 200 today, we're gonna have 250 10 years from now, or is that generally from your time helping manage the plan?
No,
It's been pretty level.
we won't grow significantly. Obviously, folks will age off.
Yep.
Nice way of saying it, but no, we won't see a significant growth in this population. The bigger issue in this whole sort of picture is exactly what does the government do with its Medicare and Medicaid's payments? Because they have a direct impact on how you as a group health plan provider incur claims costs. So that's part of the stuff that we're seeing right now.
Okay, thank you.
Raj, anything?
Nope, nothing.
Okay? I have nothing. Nothing. All right. Do you have something more fun?
Well,
We need to vote on this
We
one?
need to vote on this because open enrollment,
Is,
if you approve these rates, open enrollment will open tomorrow for seniors. We'll keep that open for approximately 3 weeks. All of our retirees and seniors that have access to this plan will get a letter from the town accountant's office, and will respond accordingly for the January 1st change.
One follow-on question is, if we wanted to do an RFP, say next spring, is that going to ruffle any feathers with our current providers, or
I
is
hope
that?
so.
Okay,
Heather's already put them on notice.
okay,
Yeah, she's very direct about not really happy with all of the results, and she's already advised them. So, not a secret.
And it perhaps is important that you know that the Insurance Advisory Committee did vote to recommend this rate change to you.
I have one
Motion
question.
to accept the rate change.
should I have a second?
Second.
Now it's open for discussion. Go
Question.
ahead.
Ken, is it a public information, how many are enrolled in this plan? Or how many total number of seniors?
Seniors, we have about 200. Yeah, and Raj, I don't know how many are actual town retirees and spouses. I don't know the difference, but,
Okay.
yeah, but altogether it's 200.
Okay, thank you.
All right. No other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. All right, are we doing the next exciting one? Or no, this is it?
That's it?
Yep, that's
This
it
is
for
it?
tonight.
Oh, that was easy. I would have had you go before ADA. I thought you were gonna have a slideshow and everything.
I'll save that for the spring, okay?
Yeah, that'll be great. Just let me know what day you're coming.
Thank you, Ken. I
Thank you all.
appreciate your
All
time.
right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we have managed to go everywhere on here, so why don't we go to meeting minutes? So we have we have 5 different meeting minutes on here, so I'm very thankful. That person will stop emailing me about meeting minutes when I tell them we are posting them. I'm gonna go with April 10th. Well, first, has everyone read the meeting minutes? Does anyone have changes? No. Do we want to do one motion?
Yep.
For all of them? Okay.
So, April 10th, I will abstain because I was not yet on the committee. The rest can vote for.
Okay, so do I have a motion for June 18th, July 16th, August 6th, and October 6th for our regular meeting minutes to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I have a motion for April 10th, regular 2025, regular meeting minutes? Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any?
Abstain.
Okay, all right. Next item. Acknowledge a donation received from the Council on Aging between August 31st, 2025 through September 30th, 2025 from residents in the amount of $565. Right? I need to, I'm just acknowledging. I need a
I'm
vote?
just
You gotta vote.
wondering,
All right.
where does this somebody like donate this? Is there like a donation bin? I'm just curious where the money comes from.
I thought you gave it to them.
I want acknowledgement,
It's all the donations.
Just donations from people going?
but this is like, it's not like a lump sum. This is random donations. Okay.
They pull together and they.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
So,
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
All right, we checked off the senior health insurance. I'm gonna skip this one, so I wanna jump to discussion on future ribbon cutting being held by the Economic Development Task Force. So, I was on the Economic Development Task Force when we came up with this. I remember who said that too. It was like, oh, when new businesses open, we should find a way to welcome them or go see them. And everyone was like, yeah, that's great. You know, the task force, that's a way to get to know them and get to know the community. And that started. And they started doing that, and that was great. And somehow between that and now the select board, now it's the select board attends the ribbon cutting, does a citation and stands there. I'm not sure how the transfer happened.
It was, from the beginning, it's the select board.
I was on the economic task force when we
Even
came up with it, so
before,
it didn't hear.
No, normally the select board members goes to the meeting, the ribbon cuttings. So if you recall, when Jen was there, we go to the,
The catering,
process.
that's when we came up with it. I was gonna say, I was on the economic
Yeah,
development task force.
even before that, the Chamber of Commerce, they invited us for all of those.
Well,
ribbon
so I
cutting.
do remember the Chamber of Commerce inviting us. I think it's great, but I also think it's in the middle of a workday and I'm struggling to get to all of them. And we recently missed one, this summer, and that wasn't great either. So either we need to negotiate with the economic task force to have, if we can't, they can, or someone do it, but it can't be 5 members at a 12:30 on a Tuesday, leave work and go to do this, because it's just not, for me, it's not working. I can't do it every week. But I wanted this to be a discussion because I think it's great we have so many new businesses, but one of them, we did like a 1-year anniversary ribbon cutting in a parking lot, or a citation for something in a parking lot. And I think we had to have an emergency meeting 2 days before to do the citation, because we didn't even do that.
No, maybe it's a very good photo opportunity.
Well, Raj, you're the politician, you have the pin and that,
Oh,
you
yeah.
like to kiss babies and wave, you
Yeah.
go to them.
I will go to that. I had been, I
You have not
used to
been
go
at
so
several.
many, I did go to so many of those.
Okay, so I'm happy to like We could make a motion that Raj is the person that does it.
Yeah, happy to do that.
Perfect.
Perfect,
So
absolutely.
moved.
Second.
Second, further discussion, not even, no, I don't want to hear it. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No, fantastic, thank you, Raj, for stepping up and doing that. That's the easiest thing we've done.
Nice.
All right,
So there will be photos of him at the med spa.
that is fabulous.
We will make sure that there is some sort of
They
med
do
spa
They do
treatment
take pictures, I know.
that you participate in, and we will have photos.
He represents me every day of the week.
Make sure you have flip-flops.
All right, so the next item in here, which is a new business item that it's around school committee meetings being held at the town hall. So Heather had forwarded me several communications requesting that what started to be the school committee meeting itself be brought to the town hall. Then I think you got a list of subcommittee meetings also to come to the town hall, so that it was more accessible to the public.
So I believe the initial request from the school is only for their primary school committee meeting, with the understanding that at some point down the line, they would want to have a conversation about the subcommittees. But I believe that there was a clarification that was sent, that at this point, they're looking for that second Wednesday of the month to have that meeting here in the town hall.
So,
Is this the reason for the ADA come? I think.
There are 9 other subcommittees that meet as necessary. I don't know what their meeting schedule was provided, but it doesn't appear that it's regular.
Yeah, so in general, I see no problem with another town entity using public resources just in a different building. And I think that's a great use of, if this room is empty from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the evening, it's not necessarily serving the town at that point. So if they would like to use the space and it's not already booked, I don't see a problem with it.
So the major issue is, the school committee, there are some of the town residents, they are complaining about the ADA. So if we don't fix that meeting place, they may go to complain. So we may get a lawsuit, or
So-
whatever the action they are going to take. So I think, it's a good idea to have it here, if the room is free.
So one of the issues is that it isn't only the room space, it is also the availability of our
staff.
of our staff to do the recording in the meetings, and we do keep them very busy. Tonight, they are doing 2 meetings at one time. Last night, they did 2 meetings at one time. So I just offer that there might, if that is a decision that this board takes, there might be some discussion about how that works. I know that they have an IT staff person. I don't know what the arrangements would be for them to come and use our equipment. So I think those types of logistical questions need to be asked.
The other thing is, the second Wednesdays are planning board meetings.
Yeah, so
Would there be any clash?
There would be based on, put this on, sorry, every time I put it on echo. So there would be based on that, and also one of the things, so you are right, anyone can use this space, but Zoom or Teams is not accessible. And it's actually only legally allowed to be used because of COVID, and it has been on an extension. It is not something that is required. My concern here is also the only facility in town that can hold town meeting is the middle high school. So my concern very directly back when we started to get these requests is I have requests from people to move school committee meetings out of the school that is accessible, every day is accessible, to the town hall that also faces the exact same, because we have the ADD transition plan that the school has right now. And we don't even have the functionality or capability the school has. They have an automatic live feed to post on their site. It takes us days to get this, not days, not that they're doing a bad job, but it takes a few days for the select board meeting to
No.
actually make it online.
No, it is live, right?
So theirs are live streamed
This is
on a
how-
YouTube channel. So after this meeting, if I go to get on there, it's not there. This meeting won't be there.
Won't be there till probably a couple
No, I
days.
mean, no, I want to answer
Yeah.
that question. So after you leave this meeting, you cannot view
No,
this meeting.
while this meeting is happen, this is live.
Right, this is
After
live.
that,
They have technology where they actually live stream and it's immediately available. Ours is a few days.
So
And then second, town meeting happens there. So there is no other, it's illegal to have it anywhere outside of town, we check this. If we start, which part of this was ADA concerns, we move that. Why would,
So-
I personally, why would you ever have town meeting there?
Can I ask
Now
you?
we have to, the only other place that has it is the Manor, and I think it was they can hold 325, so if we go on the last meeting, town meeting, now we have an even bigger issue. So part of mine, when I saw the fury of emails requesting to use it, yes, the building is useful. You can use this. This building has the same issues that the school has. Actually, has not even the same technology that the school has, because I didn't realize they had that tech, and I don't know how we get it, but I would like to have it. So we asked for feedback to say, how do we do this if we still have town meeting there? Because I know there's this opinion, right? We can move it to town hall and it becomes immediately compliant. That is not true. And bi-directional is only allowed right now because we were in COVID. If it gets taken away tomorrow, we don't do Zoom anymore. It is not a legal thing that we could do. So I'm struggling because there seems to be a lot of experts, but no one could tell me
Yep.
what is happening.
So to leverage a little bit of my day to 9 to 5, the technology required, the changes required to make this an immediate live stream to YouTube based on what we already have in place are minimal. The same tech that a 18-year-old who likes to stream himself to Twitch and YouTube playing video games can be employed here, and we would solve that problem. So that's
That's not true though, because we have them, they're doing 2 meetings right now. So I would say,
So-
you're saying that based on your job is very different than this. So you can pull up a Zoom link on here. That is nothing like running what those folks are doing in that room.
I don't disagree with your statement, but my point is that the end feed that comes off of their equipment and goes out can then be recaptured with very inexpensive hardware and then sent right to a YouTube live stream. And that solves your live stream problem. That's part one.
Well, I was gonna say, live
That-
stream, we don't have live stream,
That-
they do.
I understand, but when you're pointing out that we lack a capability that they have, I'm
Yeah.
saying that's a very solvable technological issue. That's not a big deal. In the grand scheme of things, happy to go in depth at any point in time, and that's not unachievable. On the stance that this could all go away tomorrow, that's fine, it could, and then if that went away, then we would have to then readdress the problems at that point. But while it is still an allowable solution, let's not turn a blind eye to the solutions that we have in place. And I say, again, I don't want to discourage any public group in town from using the systems to their capabilities. And we could also ask Dr. Riley if the school's IT group could be trained on this to not burden these folks any more than they already are. So,
I don't
Can
disagree.
I
Go
say
ahead.
a couple of things? Not to, say, go off these things. So I think, this is because of the ADA. So people are, they are complaining that school is not ADA compliance. So school, I need to go to the school meetings. So because I have an handicapped, I have a difficulty in accessing because the handicap issues. So that's the reason they wanted the school meeting to be moved here so they can enter our town hall and then come into this place. So that's one thing. The school meetings are smaller, and I think, you are saying in the town, why we are having a town meeting there. I think, we did either Jen or somebody,
We
they
had the
did
same
consult.
issue with the same person
No,
4 years
oh,
ago.
no, yeah,
We almost looked at
this is the
moving it.
same issue even
Yeah.
still today. How can you have a town meeting in that auditorium
Yeah.
with an handicap? I think, there is an answer we got from the town council, because we do not have a capacity of any of the town-owned
Yeah.
buildings with the handicap access, we are holding that. That is allowed, I guess. So maybe this is the question for a
So,
town council.
Town council did answer it. So the school is accessible as the building we're sitting in. Bi-directional communication is not a requirement, and it has only come into play because of COVID. It's something they extended twice since COVID, but bi-directional communication or online communication is not a requirement. It is a nice to have. While I've been around long enough and through the transition plan to know exactly the path this takes, this isn't a simple move. We made very simple changes to accommodate this same person with Pride Park. And Pride Park was, well, we need to do something immediately to help. We went 4 years and $780,000 to replace that entire park because of this very reason. And I sat and I was one of the people, we gotta fix it, we gotta do something, I sat here with the town administrator, we could do this, and Nancy said we could do that. We did everything we could. And the park wound up closed for 4 years and cost the town $780,000. And it was because of this reason. A few people said, well, an email went out saying it's not accessible. That school, every day, is accessible. We have kids there with disabilities, we have kids in wheelchairs, and they are attending school there. I do not, because I lived that, and people are still upset with me because they think we closed that park, and no one will ever do the background to see who actually closed that park for 4 years and cost this town $780,000 and still is unhappy. I am not going to put the town in a situation where this board or another board says that building is not accessible to kids that attend every day with disabilities. Because that means it's not compliant, and that means we shut the doors.
So I'm not here to say whether it is or is not accessible. I don't have the expertise to make that decision. My simple point is that if some member of the community is asking for this committee meeting to take place elsewhere that they feel is more accessible to them, and that committee is open to it, and the space is available, it doesn't seem like a giant lift to say, move it from point A to point B. And then we can all say, we've done what we can. I don't know that that's admitting whether something is or is not compliant, and that's, I see these as two separate topics. Maybe I'm not reading into enough. I think they're two separate topics.
When an email says accessibility and comes to you and says it's not accessible, there's no two different topics. It's one. That building, both Major Edwards, actually every one of our buildings have things that we're working on as part of this transition plan. What I would say, so I'll give you legal counsel's reply on this. So I'd like to clarify recent comments about the accessibility of the middle high school and the town hall. So both of the buildings are accessible to individuals with disabilities and has been for years. Students with disabilities attend the middle high school every day, and residents with disabilities have long participated in public meetings and town meetings held at the middle high school. The town has hosted numerous public hearings, ZBA, planning board, at the middle high school for a number of years. The town did conduct in 2023 an Americans with Disability Act ADA self-assessment and transition plan. This plan reviewed a public building, included to outline recommendations to enhance across all town buildings, including both of West Boylston schools. Many of those improvements have already actually been implemented, and additional upgrades are being evaluated for the future. At present, the middle high school auditorium remains the only suitable place in town to hold our capacity for town meetings. It is also important to note that moving all school district public meetings to another location would not resolve the concerns that have been arised. The school district has the ability to utilize Zoom or Google Meets or Teams to enhance their remote participation without moving their public meetings. The town remains fully open to continuing to improve accessibility across all of the public facilities and to keep residents informed as additional recommendations from the transition plan comes forward and are managed through budgets. So I say this because they can move their meetings, but moving their meeting for a Zoom link, they have the capability at the school to do. If we're moving public meetings out of the middle high school for accessibility concerns, that then becomes a concern because we hold our town meeting there.
I think.
And if we say that's being moved for accessibility, we have a problem with holding town meeting there.
I think that's the loophole, right?
That's,
So the loophole is, or, the argument is, the school committee meetings are smaller, whereas the town meeting is about 300 or 600 people are attending the town meeting. So the town has no other place, so that we can legally hold town meetings at that school. That's my understanding. I may be wrong.
well,
Whereas, one more thing I will tell you, and after that I will leave it. So one more thing is, this person, he doesn't want to attend a meeting on a Zoom. He want to come to the meeting in person. That's how they are saying, whether they are coming or not. That's how they are saying, I want to come to the meeting. I'm not able to come to the meeting with a handicapped person. So this is what they are saying. For the smaller one, they do say that, the town meeting the school has to be made ADA accessible. Even the town meeting should make ADA accessible. They are arguing that. ADA is a big thing. I don't know how to deal with that. I'm not an attorney.
I would say we have had town meeting there, and there were 2 grievances filed against us having our before meeting in the cafeteria because it was not ADA accessible. I completely hear you, David, and I want you to know I do hear you, but it is a very financially impacting decision if we say, we'll just let you do it for this one, and we'll say, we agree with you that this is an accessibility issue at our school system where we have town meeting. This is one step that, being someone that I can openly say, took the step to say, I want to make this person happy, not once, but actually 3 different times. And I sit here saying, financially and for the town, I need to say town meeting can only be there and that school is accessible to children. We have had besides one person, I do have 11 open meeting law complaints and grievances across the entire town. The library trustees have not met at the library in years. They will only do Zoom because of the threat. Our town has done as much as we can do, and we're still doing it, but I am not gonna sit here and watch those doors be closed and then get into the issue we were 3 years ago when we were trying to find a place to have town meeting, because that was a very upsetting moment. Sorry.
I think,
You were actually on the school committee at
well,
this.
I was gonna say, I think the issue here is we're conflating the issue of can we do town meeting in a building that we can't do school committee meetings or what? The school committee meeting is held in the media center, that's perfectly accessible. That the town hall, the town meeting being held in the auditorium is a different section of the building that is, may or may not be accessible, I don't know. But I can tell you that the library is just as accessible, if not more so, than this area here. So the question before us is whether the school committee can have their meeting here. And to David's point, they can have their meeting wherever they want to do.
If they would like to take a vote and say that they are having their meeting at the town hall, because you know what, we're just nicer over here, and they like the room setup, or they want this really cool table, and they want to sit at this table.
This is a rather.
I am fine with them taking that vote to do that. If it is a vote to say that that building is not accessible, then then we have another situation that you will have here, because that will be a multi-million-dollar situation, and,
So, Mike,
it's gonna be a concern.
I need one clarification. So the reason they are asking to move the school committee meeting here is ADA. And also it is a smaller size.
Well,
Whereas,
so this is smaller, they normally have 12 people at a regular school committee meeting, 12 actual members. The other day, actually, I was at that meeting that they just had, they actually wouldn't have been able to have the meeting here, because they had too many people, so they wouldn't have been able to attend this meeting for, this is 47, downstairs was 52, and that's 52 seats, including the 12 that show up. If the school, so I would just go back and say, if the school committee took a vote, because they just want to use the town hall, that seems great. If the school committee takes a vote that the middle high school is not accessible to the public, that is different. That is what I'm saying. Anyone could use this, but I do not want to head down the path we start having the same issues during town meeting that we had 3 years ago, even a year ago, and
But-
it becomes an issue.
But isn't that the school committee's role to interrogate that? I mean, our conversation here is really just, can they use the building or not? Sure,
Yep.
they can use the building. I don't,
And so what I would just say is, I am saying they can use it. KP Law provided that all of our buildings are accessible. But I would like to say, and I wanted to make it clear for the record, the middle high school is the only place in the entire town that can hold town meeting, and that needs to stay there. Unless we build a new middle high school and they build it perfect.
Hypothetically, so from my understanding, if that building were not, did you say, did I catch you early on saying that the meeting has to be held within town property?
Yes, it's illegal to be held outside of town property. We went through this. David, I will tell you.
No, I'm asking just.
The confines of the town.
It can be held in a private building. It can be held in a building that is not town-owned.
Yep.
But it has to be within the
The limits of
square
the
miles of the
Okay.
town of West
And
Boylston.
we had them research this, the only building, because I will say, I think, if I've learned anything in the last 4 years, this is coming. The only thing that the only place available is the manor, and they can hold 350 to 400, I think, is what KP Law told us. Which comes at a cost for 2 meetings, which is fine. But I would just say, this is the only place we can have it. And I am concerned that if someone says it's not accessible, we go down the path of where we were a couple years ago, where someone was standing in the middle of the room yelling at all the boards before town meeting, you're not allowed to meet here, it's not ADA accessible. And students should not be attending school here, the doors should be locked. I do not want to head down this path, because this is the same path we did 24 months ago, 72 months ago.
I have a follow-on question, again, on the hypothetical range. If it were not, and who makes that decision I don't, I don't pretend to know the mechanics of that. If it were found to not be, is there a correction period? Or a plan of action you put forward that says, we recognize it is not, and we are taking these steps to resolve the problem, and that buys you a window of time to make that problem no longer be a problem? Is that a thing? I'm purely asking because I'm curious and I don't know the answer.
So a lot of these, actually every building, as you heard, the senior center that was just built, has things that have to change in it. We are the only town besides Sudbury that are actually doing it.
No, I understand that, but
I don't know,
so can we ask council that? Because my curiosity is, if something is found to not be, is your response is we have a plan of action to correct it?
So the process, so this, going back to the self-evaluation and transition plan, that is a voluntary document. That is a planning tool. It is not a legal mandate. It is not anything that the town is obligated. You could have done the plan and put it on a shelf, and there would not be any repercussions. The trigger is when a complaint is filed with the Architectural Access Board.
Yeah.
And that is something that fortunately has not happened. But that is when you move from, I guess, like, should we do something? What can we do? Can we budget $10,000 a year and pick away at this stuff, to now you're under an enforcement order from the Architectural Access Board. So that's maybe an answer to your question?
Yep, no, partially, that tells me the mechanism that essentially decides yay or nay, are you not? But then from the Architectural Access Board, if they were to find that you are not, then if you were to put forward, for example, oh, this building's not today, here's the plan of the new building going in place that meets that requirements, do they generally
That would
then
be
say?
part of the, that would be part of the correction
Okay, and then,
proposal.
okay, and then in that correction proposal, then that can essentially then buy you the,
I think the Architectural Access Board would be case by case, and I would not speculate on what the corrective action would be
Okay.
and the time frame that you would be allowed to make those corrections.
and
okay,
our caution is, moving meetings here are completely allowed. The preference is, they're moving here because they want to move to this town hall and to use this building. Not because the middle high school is not accessible to its students, because there are levers, like the Pride Park situation, that then you openly say it's not accessible, and that will trigger something to happen. I would say, as a learning moment, I've learned a lot about ADA. And I know we have a middle high school, a feasibility study. I don't know if that's gonna even get voted yes at town meeting.
sure.
So I would hate to trigger something that then it doesn't matter if you have a feasibility study, because you now have no choice and you have to fully fund it with no state money. Which I would say I'm taking baby steps around saying. So, use of the building, completely fine, anyone could use the building. If they would like to use the building and there's no meetings happening. They have tech that they can use, and that's fine. But all town buildings are accessible, and if anyone needs accommodations, they can contact our town administrator or the ADA email address for any of our town meetings, and we will make accommodations to get them where they need to be with any of our buildings, DPW, fire, any building that sits at the bottom of those. Any of those buildings will make accommodations. So I will leave it there. There's no vote on this. This is awareness, and if it had been positioned in some of the communications that were sent over to us, I think it would have been like, hey, use any room you want. You could sit back here. But the response back, I think, would be, you're absolutely allowed to use the room. the room is accessible as the school.
And follow on, and we have no objection to the school's IT administrator, AV, being trained or using this system?
So that's a very good question, and we will connect the appropriate parties to have those discussions.
Because if at that point, we're theoretically allowing them to use it and we're not adding more burden to these folks, then at that point, these are ships passing in the night.
Is it cable access that
It
does
is
it?
cable access.
Cable, so it's not really, oh, okay, so I was gonna say, we could train them, but I was like, it's not us, it's cable access. I leave it.
It's a great segue to your town meeting warrant article, because there are.
Let's go run into that quick.
Don't we have to approve the license?
No, so, vendor license for Fall Fest, October 25th, 2025. I think we had two on here, hold on. Did you have an extra one? Just one?
This is the one that came in late.
That at the start? Yep. Okay. Just one
So moved.
second,
Second?
2 seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We did the work list. So to review the motions and to confirm funding sources, I think you've all read through the warrant articles. The only item, so we have, for everyone, we're doing the school one second, third, we're doing the school third, and trash enterprise fourth.
Can I ask a quick
Go for it.
question? Will the explanations of the articles be provided to the public ahead of time?
I am hoping that your review this evening and Finance Committee's review this evening will, and Town Council's review, are all going to come together tomorrow morning, and we'll have a final document that we can share online. This document is actually online now, as connected to tonight's meeting calendar, so you're posting. This document is available.
The explanations in it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, just for Article 1, is there like a format, I'm asking this for myself, basically?
Yes.
Like, if I'm sitting up here, do I walk around and give my townwide planning
I think you
report?
do go to, I've only been to
Yeah, yeah.
one town meeting, and.
How does it work for that?
So you would get up, go to the mic and say,
Got it. Okay.
this is my report as blah, 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 and you could send it to Faye. Do you take them or no, you don't care?
You
about
can send them, I actually
mine.
have the.
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I have that one. I'm expecting, there'll be 4 reports. I don't know if you encouraged, the Disability Commission to give one as well, so there
I think
might be
Vanessa
5.
Yeah.
So, you know, a good
Okay.
smattering of reports.
David's gonna give the select board one.
Great.
All right, I had no problem with 1, 2, does anyone have questions on 2?
It is what it is.
I don't, okay. 3, so this is one I had a question on, and I had the question because I read something for Shrewsbury, and I attended, not all those building ones, because, no offense, I attend too many meetings, but my question on this was, it's $2 million, everyone, it says 2 million here, Heather, yes, we didn't have to put the 2 million in, but it says 2 million, and everybody went, oh my God, we can't do it, that's crazy money, we could find better use to that money. And my thought was, well, it's not really $2 million, because MSBA does 57% of it, and then Shrewsbury did a mixed, like, we'll start with some money in free cash, and then we'll do the MSA amount, and then if we have to, we'll do a loan or roll that into the construction when it starts. So my question to Heather was more like, why didn't we do something like that? That is more here in West Boylston, more palatable to people, where they're like, oh, you're presenting options instead of you're gonna make my taxes go up again for this. So now that we have free cash certified, I don't even want to, it's like I'm sitting here and I'm like cursing myself. Do we want to offer some type of blended model to take some of the burden off the taxpayers instead of it truly being, it would be $1 million, but do we want to do something there to make it less? That's if it even passes, but this was my thought.
So with that, I have a question. We have two school building committee members. So is this true? So the study, we are asking for 2 million. That 2 million will be reimbursed only if the study is accepted, if the state or the MSBA is going to fund the entire school building. Is that, or
A portion
even
of
the
it.
study, will they give you the money?
A portion of the study could be reimbursed
But it
if
is-
we build the school.
If we don't build this?
If we don't build the school, we get
Or if we
nothing.
don't, no, my different question. Say $2 million, we are going to do the study, okay? So, if we are going with the plan and we submit it to the MSBA, if they say, no, we are not going to fund you,
Mhm.
what happens that time?
We don't get any reimbursement for the study.
Exactly. That's what I want to be clear.
So my thought was a blended approach to this. But
I think that the
What
two
is- what
options
is your
in here
blended
for the 5-year and the 20-year are good options. I mean, it's a significant cost savings for the 20-year, which would get rolled over if the project gets funded. But if it doesn't get funded, then we are stuck with the 5-year. If there were to be another funding source, how much could that funding source be, and what would the burden, how much would it lessen the burden? I'm just wondering, like, if it would be a significant amount. So right now, we're looking at about $145.22 for the average family for the 2 million over 5 years. If we were to offer an alternative source, what might the number now be?
So my thought on this was, when I read Shrewsbury, they did $3 million for a feasibility study for just to build an addition onto their newer high school to expand it. And they did, the town manager, from what I read, did free cash for some of it. They do have more free cash than us, free cash for some of it. They listed that MSBA actually, in what they put, actually does reimburse parts of the feasibility study, so that was in the one I read, and then waiting to do the loan at the very last, no other choice. And the 145, just to be clear, that's a year, right? So it's $145 for an average $550,000 home a year if we finance the whole $2 million. Okay, sorry,
5 years.
5 years.
Over the 5 years.
Yes.
So to speak to that, it would be wonderful if we also certified 13 million in free cash, because at that point, I would say the entire 2 million should come out of a free cash allocation. That's Shrewsbury's free cash certification, is 13 million and some additional change. So for them to put up 1.5 is a very different discussion than West Boylston putting up free cash. The MSBA reimbursement, I've gone back and forth with this, with the superintendent. The language in the explanation is his language. It does indicate that he feels strongly that there would be some reimbursement on the 2 million, so long as the feasibility study itself meets the MSBA criteria and is accepted as a plan. As far as a loan goes, it appears to me from reading that article that Shrewsbury has the levy capacity to borrow money and pay that debt service back under their levy. We do not have that capacity. So any borrowing that we do would have to be debt excluded, which would be over and above the levy limit. You did certify $2 million in free cash. We do,
Can I ask a quick question on that? On the certification, sorry to interrupt. We had a bit of an unexpected windfall, if you will, based on the power companies.
that's different than the free cash, that's new growth.
Right, I'm sorry. So from a new growth standpoint, so we saw that increase this year. Will we see similar numbers the following, or is that a one-time?
You will, so switching gears from.
Yeah, sorry, I think, I feel like they're related, but please.
Okay, so let me just finish the conversation
Okay, please do.
on the free cash, and I promise, and.
It's fine.
and,
You're fine. It's fine.
We can definitely talk both. So, of that 2,700,000, I think it was 720 to 730,000 of that was rolled over from last year's free cash. So about, not all of that 2 million was from a single year. You are also looking at, you have a structural deficit in your budget, which you heard a lot about. When I was watching your select board meetings, I felt like Jen mentioned structural deficit at least 20 times per meeting. So that is a 1% of your budget that you use free cash for. That number next year will be $316,000. So that comes off the top. In addition to that, we know that we have a capital expense that is contractual with Republic with the Republic to purchase the carts. Really, your only alternative for that purchase would be free cash, so that's another $350,000. I mean, in the idea that we would pay, that there's an opportunity for the solid waste users, should the enterprise account be successful, to pay that back to the town, and you would recoup that free cash expenditure. That is certainly an option. But we know that if the enterprise does not move forward for whatever reason, that is still an expense that the town is contractually obligated to make. Additionally to that, you put $100,000 into your OPEB. That is not mandatory, but it goes a long way for your bond rating. And traditionally, you have tucked some money into your stabilization account. If you were going to skip any of those, that would be the item that I would say you could pass over at this town meeting, not appropriate the $100,000 into your stabilization, and that gives you approximately $700,000 to $800,000 worth of unappropriated free cash. Your options for that amount of money is to hold it in reserve. As you look at your FY27 budget, you know that we're projecting a deficit, and this is where that new growth conversation is going to come back into. So we know that we're looking at a deficit that would be significantly reduced with the adoption of the Solid Waste Enterprise Fund. If not, that number is still a big number. I mean, we're looking at $700,000 to $800,000. Ken was here earlier. When we looked at our health insurance rates, we are looking at 19.9% increase. Each point of that is about $36,000. You could be doubling your deficit with health insurance alone. That is a thing. So an option would be to not appropriate that money and use it as a potential stopgap for your deficit. Or you can certainly look at it as an appropriation for the offset to the school feasibility study. I guess the third option is that if you don't appropriate it for the feasibility and you don't need it to balance your budget, it rolls, and next year you're looking at another solid free cash year. Just to talk just briefly on the free cash, last year you certified 2.1, the year before that was 1.8, and the year before that was 1.5. You've had some strong free cash years. And I'm not here to say that using free cash to offset that feasibility study is not a good idea. I just want to make sure that there's an understanding that it then limits your choices that you have as you work your way towards your FY27 budget.
But hypothetically, what is the number that we could use for free cash if we wanted to, for the feasibility study?
Well, I think that the number was about $700,000 that was not appropriated. That number changes if you decide not to put money into stabilization, because you could pull that $100,000 back.
Okay.
So I would say I'm not opposed. I don't want to not put money into stabilization. This was something I looked at and said, we should at least consider. I think it's good to consider it here. We've considered it to the public, and we said, and I did come back strongly to say, you know, if we're funding trash barrels out of free cash, but don't at least talk about funding part of the feasibility study. It just didn't, for me personally, I would have looked at that and said, why didn't you have a discussion, right? Like, at least have the discussion, even if it was $300,000 that you were funding out of $2 million, at least it's a discussion.
So the school building committee in its first meeting did talk about funding sources at length, and there were members of the finance committee that were present at that meeting. And, you know, there was a strong sentiment from the finance committee that they did not support. And, you know, that doesn't sway your decision-making. But I would, at this stage of the game,
I get that. I just struggle with
add that to it. So
finance supported buying trash barrels with our free cash, but they weren't supportive of putting free cash towards a feasibility study for the school. It seems to be like a consistent theme I keep seeing. We just had ADA, and it's like, yeah, we don't look at school projects. It just seems to be, and it's not you, it is an absolute theme that we're like, well, that's okay. We'll spend money on this. That can wait. That can wait. And I just feel like I wanted to have the topic, not to call out or blame anyone, but to say, we don't have to do anything, but at least I wanted to make it known that you can see some of the problems systemically we have with the buildings. I was out there looking at the sidewalk. I will buy, I honestly, and I'm sorry, we're gonna spend $300 on trash carts for people, but we won't fix a sidewalk that our kids step on every day.
I just have a question about that real quick. Let's pretend that we weren't even doing this enterprise account. Would we still have to buy the carts out of free cash, essentially? Like, what other source could we have bought them from?
I guess that's my point. You don't have another allocation, right?
But like, could we have, I don't know, took a debt exclusion for that instead, in theory?
Well, you did an override in May for trash.
Yeah.
Right. You know, we could have shifted the narrative to the deficit being with another department.
So essentially, we're buying these carts, but in May, we're actually deciding whether or not we want to fund the carts, whether we're going to fund it out of free cash versus.
You'll decide that well before. So and we're skipping all around, and I did promise David a new growth conversation. So if town meeting supports the enterprise fund, next month, your board will start looking at policy and making those decisions and setting the fee. And when you set because you're the fee setters and you're the policy makers. So when you set that fee, that's where that discussion will come in, because we're going to need that information very soon in order to start the public education portion of that and get that rolling.
But an option could be for us to charge the carts back and then
Absolutely.
put that back into free cash.
So, and that's the way that the budget model is currently set. I understand that the finance committee has made the recommendation to not charge residents back for those. But it is ultimately your decision. And the budget model, to be safe, includes a chargeback.
Okay.
And it's, well, I'd say I knew in our contract, when we did the trash contract, we had to buy carts by June 1st of 2026.
They have to be on the curb for July 1.
July 1, so,
And there's a 45-day,
Grace period.
there, right, and I would say, so here's, I brought this up for Article 3 because in Article 5, we set aside $350,000 for carts. I've never done an enterprise account, trash account fund, whatever this is we're calling this. So I probably wouldn't have said, I'm gonna do this for you, but this to me is, if we don't consider this or look at this, right? I mean, honestly, purchasing $350,000 in carts, we don't have a system. We could have 40% of the public
no,
opt
you
out.
have to buy them anyway, right?
But I don't have
You're-
to buy them for every single home if we're not picking up every single home.
No, you have to have those carts for July 1.
But I'm saying,
If you don't go to enterprise, you still have to spend
But that- I'm saying-
on carts.
what you told us the last meeting is that people could opt out. So if 40% of the town opts out of trash, we are purchasing how many containers? Are we purchasing it as if every 100% of the town is?
No, but I have to have an allocation, or an appropriation to cover, if when we go to purchase the carts,
Yeah,
we're purchasing for 40% of the community, then, and again, we only go to 40% if the solid waste enterprise fund is supported and successful at town
let's
meeting.
say it's supported,
Right.
it's
So-
successful.
So, we would only spend a portion of that appropriation, and that free cash doesn't,
Roll back to.
rolls back and becomes available for further appropriation down the line. Just because you're appropriating it doesn't mean
Doesn't
that
mean
you're
it's gonna
spending.
get used.
Right.
Okay, so we're not gonna have June 1st, 2,400 carts
No,
times 2
no.
show up at the town hall, and we're figuring out where they were in this room.
But very similar, with the 2 million, you are appropriating 2 million, but you may only spend
And-
1.6,
And it rolls back.
and
Yep.
we don't,
So,
It's
We
like
don't-
CPC money, so
Right.
if we did what, 150, but they only used 35,000, they never take the rest out of the account, so it just stays.
can I say,
That would be
there is a little different in that. Once you appropriate, I know that in a police station and the senior center project, once you appropriate 2 million, when you go for RFP, those guys will give you near close to 2 million.
Oh, you mean for an estimate?
yeah, so I understand what you're saying, Raj, but I think what
They
I'm,
want to use it every
I'm just
single
saying fundamentally, you can,
That's the problem I see.
when you appropriate, you have to appropriate
I
for
know.
what you what
How much is
the
going to
largest
cost.
amount.
So we don't, because we could be here all night. So the article that I brought up was this one, because I know someone will say to me, why don't you put money towards our kids? You guys always hold money from the kids and you buy all this random stuff and you don't care and you hate the children. It's like the vein of my existence. So I'm gonna sit at that table under that ridiculous light and say, we're gonna do $2 million at, $145 a year, which at total, if you had a house that's $550, it's $725 to the taxpayer over a 5-year period of time. And when they say, why didn't you give any free cash to it? You certified 2 million. I say, because we knew there was a deficit coming, we didn't want to ask for an override. And, we're doing carts and I don't even know what these
And
other
OPEB.
things are.
OPEB,
OPEB,
stabilization,
well,
And
this says facility management stuff,
No,
That's
Selections of the-
that's gonna be the new growth that we're gonna
We're
make
gonna-
sure we get back to David's question.
Okay, because I was gonna say that's in Article 5, so that lists everything and 350 for trash.
Correct.
Okay, so do I feel confident saying that back to the public? And it's not just me, I know I get the hardest part of it, because I get to sit in this beautiful seat, but you're all gonna hear this because you guys have kids. You guys don't have kids in the school system, you're gonna hear it when you go out and people ask you these questions. So, I'm okay with passing over it, you guys don't have to change it, but,
So the answer could be like, you know, if we put it 2 million, so we get, if the building is approved or if the project is approved, we get the money back, whatever the percentage. And also 2 million compared to the entire project, it is negligible, $150 million. So that's one of the, I don't know, you know, I'm just throwing it, you know. That could be the one of the justification, you know,
so,
school building committee guys can give.
so I would say, I'm leaving it be, I would just say that is why I brought it up, because there will be a question, I will be asked, why did we not do this, and I didn't have a good answer besides saying, one of my comments is, how many times have we funded something in the school system? I mean, one of the immediate things I got when this got posted was, so we laid off a bunch of people at the school and they cut their budget and you just certified $2 million in free cash. Like, this was like, what, so why did we do that to the school system and now you're looking to spend all this money and not do some, like, do you know, like, the storyline speaks for itself
I
here.
think this
Like,
might
it's-
help too, is the first thing in the stabilization fund that we're gonna be discussing under educational expenses too. So I think that could, you know, help, I mean, it doesn't alleviate all of the, but I think it does help with the narrative.
Thank you.
So, we'll move on, I have no
So-
problem, go ahead.
Yeah, so sorry, if we, on the new growth, so, because it sort of relates to the, so that new growth showing up in the account was a bit of an unexpected windfall. Thanks for the power company for doing some upgrades. I'm guessing they get to claim a little bit less value in their upgrades year over year, depreciate some of their,
So that new growth figure,
Yep.
Of our new growth, of that $516,000 that we certified in new growth, I think we came to the realization that it was less than 300, it was about $320,000 could be attributed to the New England Power Plant upgrades. They did a $25 million project. For the two people in town that have not heard my conversation about this, that is a filing that does not pass through the town. It was not something that we could have seen coming unless we were aware of that actual physical construction. We had planned in our FY26 budget projections for $75,000. So 516 is a significantly big number.
so my,
Yeah, so the way new growth works, whatever has been, whatever is new and in the permitting construction phase. So if a foundation is laid before June 30th, you get 5% of the construction cost, not the construction cost, you get 5% of the proposed value of that development. So if the Dunkin' Donuts project on Route 12, by June 30th, wherever they are in their construction, you get that percentage. So sills and framework get you to 10, 15% of that assessed value. So June 30th, whatever is in development, whatever new houses have been constructed, whatever new projects are in the works, on June 30th, that will be available to us in the FY27. Certainly, we are not looking at another $25 million utility improvement, sadly. I talked to the assessor today. They would recommend that we go right back to that $75,000 new growth prediction. work that's being proposed for the Walmart, for the LIP for the Gatesbrook project. That Walmart project probably would hit in FY '28, perhaps '29. The LIP project would be, depending on how much progress they make by June 30th, we'd pick up whatever that is. My understanding, they haven't even started pushing dirt. So that's really more of an FY '28 number anyway. So although we did have a nice windfall this particular year, and I think we'll get into Article 5 where we propose to use that, where it does come into an advantage for us year after year is that it increases the levy limit.
Okay, that was my,
So that's where we see, so we're not gonna see another windfall, if you will, where we're gonna have the opportunity to make these one-time purchases like we spend our free cash. Next year, we're gonna go right back down to our regular old new growth certification. It does impact our levy, and it will impact that deficit that we're looking at. By how much? Really, until we start getting budget requests, until we start looking at what our personnel costs are gonna be. I go back to that health insurance at 19.9%. You budgeted last year for 11.75% in health insurance. And we know what impact 11% had on your budget. We're going to 19.9%. That's a big number. Okay, so done with new growth, except for, if you want to talk about Article 5.
I would say, so I would like, so unless someone wants to make a change to the earlier articles, I wanted to at least have the conversation and tell people why I had asked the questions I had asked and why I think you guys should know the answer. I personally, in Article 5, don't think we should put 350 because we don't even know if the trash fund's gonna happen. And I'd like to put it on the spring town meeting floor.
So I would love to agree with you, Christina. I have to purchase those carts. And if.
What's the lead time? Do you need 6 months? Or that's 8 months from,
So if we want to roll them out in mid-June, I need 45 days back from that. That is certainly does not allow for a May appropriation. And if we have to buy carts for everybody because the vote doesn't go through, I mean, you could amend it on town meeting floor. If solid waste is approved in Article 4, by the time you get to Article 5, if you want to amend that down.
it's very hard to do an amendment on town floor, that's why.
It just really seems to be somewhat, somewhat nitpicky about, I mean, it's a contracted service that you have signed a contract that you're gonna procure these carts. What other funding, so when I go to buy the carts, I've gotta pay the bill. And this is the only way I can pay that bill. And I have to buy them before your May town meeting.
Right, wrong, or indifferent, I understand what you're saying, and I say the position I'm sitting in is, we have a lot of moving parts, but I haven't had so many warrant articles be so in flux, and adding $350,000 and looking at Article 5, what, you were here for this, so I'm just gonna tell you, when we tried to do a multi-year override, people went berserk. And the number one thing they said is, I do not want this to be an open checkbook because you certify this much money and it's left over. You're not lowering our tax rate, you're finding things to spend it on.
This was always gonna be in this article. It was always the intention to purchase carts under
But it
article.
wasn't always the intention, because it wasn't, I didn't stand up and say I want an enterprise trash account. It was part of a contract. It was not, unless I'm wrong here, has anyone on the select board, did anyone vote to say we are doing this? Or we're going down the path of an enterprise trash account? But I never said, I'm buying those carts. I never said,
You signed a contract.
but we never in that said the town out of free cash is buying it. That is not part of the contract. We were discussing, should the people buy them? How should we manage it? That is not, Heather, it has not been
Can
something
I,
that
can I
was
ask
there.
you a clarification
people-
question? 1 second. Can I ask you a clarification question? Even if we spend trash containers, we spend money, are we going to charge it to the people? It's a free donation. We are not going to give it free. We get the money back. Am I correct?
No, this is not,
That's
this
a,
is
no,
free
that's a,
cash.
that is a decision that your board makes.
No, we can always charge it.
Can I-
Though we send it on a free
Can I
cash.
try to explain what I think is the miscommunication?
That's my understanding, we are
I-
not going to give you a free
I
cart.
was under the assumption that that this article was saying that we were paying for the carts. That's not what this is saying. This article is saying that we are buying the carts.
Yep.
Then, in the future months, we as a select board will decide whether we are going to pay for them with free cash or if we're going to include that number in what the
charges.
residents are
We
paying.
could charge it, right?
So we could pay that back, but no, regardless of whether the enterprise account happens or not, we have to buy these carts.
No, the one other thing I need to clarify is from next year onwards, the tax collecting people, they are not going to take the trash if it is not in the bin.
Correct.
Correct.
So-
And we heard very clearly from Republic that they will not permit residents to buy their own carts. That is not an option. The town has to provide the carts. How we choose to pay for them and whether, say the enterprise is not supported, you can still charge residents for the carts. I mean, you can do that independently. It does not have to be through the enterprise fund. You can say that if you want to continue to use, you're still paying for the trash services under your levy, but how you distribute those carts. But you have to, if somebody's going to participate in the trash program on July 1, the town has to provide a cart that has to be on that curb.
So I'm going to ask a question that I think you may have covered in your town halls around the trash, so apologies if you cover this. So a household of 3 versus a household of 7 obviously are going to produce different levels of trash. If come July 1 of next year, you have more bags than you have space in canned, what is the remedy for that
You will
family?
be able to buy a second cart.
Okay.
It'll be at there will
It'll
not be an option to
From the-
not purchase it, regardless of how of the policy, because the town cannot absorb the expense of
No, that's fine.
giving you a
That's fine.
second cart. What that purchase price is again going to be something that your board will have to determine as a part of the policy. Whether you charge double for that cart, understanding that you're also paying for the amount of trash that
Yeah.
has to be disposed of.
Yeah, but the amount of trash, they are going to pay for the trash bag. That's not,
Right.
they are not
Ag-
throwing it.
Again, all of,
And also, only so much you can fit in
yeah,
the
yeah,
trash
yeah.
bag, trash bin.
So without an appropriation, I cannot procure the carts, or the town cannot procure the
So-
carts.
I understand that. So I will step back by saying, this does not automatically mean the select board is voting to give the carts to all of the residents for free.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I'm saying this because I want to make sure when we say this at town meeting too, it's not, we're buying them out of this because what we heard before is we have this $700,000, $800,000 deficit we're looking at next year. That I want to be made very clear. The select board right now is not authorizing those funds to be used in that manner without our direct vote and approval,
And
if
also,
trash fund goes.
And also, you can say this also. So suppose, if 20 people are not participating in this program, so they are paying for it if you use the free cash.
So I'm fine with that if that is what this means.
The budget model, that $30 per month or $90 per quarter is based 100% on the town charging residents back for the full cost of those carts over a 5-year period. That money, and quite honestly, because we're using free cash, the IGR requires that the town make those payments back to the free cash in 2 years. So you will recoup that cost in 2 years.
Okay.
If when you sit down and go through the policy and set the rate, you stay with the existing budget model.
Okay.
That is what is built into that.
So if article passes for enterprise account, this is just opening the account, nothing happens. Nothing happens, we start planning out doing whatever the case may be. The next Article 5, it gives you that amount to purchase them, but the purchase is, we actually have to find out who's opting into this. I am guessing there's
Yeah, there would be people opting out, so.
Opting out.
Yeah.
My question on that one is, I couldn't find where there was a mandate for opt-out, and that's what I had sent you.
Yeah.
It recommends to offer an opt-out, but it is not legally required.
So, no, so we actually spoke with council.
Okay.
We do have to have, we can offer it as opt-out,
Okay.
meaning the presumption is that if you are an eligible resident currently having trash services, you will have to notify the town that you are going to do something private, that you are not going to do that. And part of that, according to council and according to DEP, is the verification and validation of what you're going to do if you're not going to do trash. So
Because
you-
we don't have, you can't have at your house dumpsters. We have
Right,
certain
right, right.
regulations that
Ex-
we would have
exactly.
to massively change.
No, well, no, so the Board of Health already has regulations in place for this. For
For dumpsters at
Yeah,
residents'
absolutely,
homes and haulers.
Yeah, you have
Approved
permitted,
haulers, no,
you have approved haulers, and it's on the website every year.
but it's like,
There's 8 of them or so.
yeah, I was gonna say, there's not like many ones
Well,
that,
there's 8.
okay,
So you would have to select one of those, and you would have to notify the town
that you're
of
using
which
that.
one you're going to use.
Okay,
In addition to that, it is something that we're going to require in writing. We will do a mailer that identifies the different ways that you are going to have to tell the town that you're not going to do this. So we have it in writing.
yep,
And you have to, again, identify who you're going to use instead. If you look at the FAQs in the back of the handout, it talks about the sharing, and that DEP recommends that if you are going to be sharing your trash service with your neighbor, there has to be a written agreement, that you have to identify that you've made a arrangement with whoever that neighbor is going to be. It's going to be a lot of management, but so the proposal that for the October meeting is to create the fund and purchase the carts. All of the rest of that is something that your board will have total control over the
well, I'm just
adoption
thinking
of.
8 months, I wanted to delay purchasing the carts, because the reality is, you say solid waste is approved, you now have, like you said, 45-day window, you have 8 months, and
If
you
you
don't
want to
have
have a special meeting,
well, I was gonna say, we don't have a person, this is a full-time job, like a person saying, here's a list of residents,
Yeah.
here's how many people move
So,
out of town or in
actually,
town.
so that's one of the benefits of working with a cart company early on, is because they will develop that manifest
For you?
with your town.
Okay.
And they will, I mean, there are advantages to getting out in front of the procurement of this, because they will take on a lot of that responsibility, including the distribution of.
Okay, so if they put this list together, they get it out the door days after town meeting, right? Because we're gonna have to hound people, not everyone answers. And we find out, well, I just wanna have backup to say this, to honestly say this to you, Heather. If in 2 months, right, we get an overwhelming response of people opting out, I do not want the 40% that opted in, we take that full amount and spread the total cost across
So
them.
you will-
That kinda, we
so-
might have to make a change.
So well, what you would have to do is subsidize that account, because you can't rescind that vote. I believe the IGR says there's a number of years before you can rescind the vote. So the town would have to supplement that.
So the town would also, so do you see, like, there's so many
So even
implications.
if residents were trying to opt out, their tax dollars are still gonna end up feeding
In the
into,
account.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Could
So-
I,
Which is why the opt-out, I think, has because people are going to see how much it costs to do this privately, and for $30 a month or $90 a quarter, it is going to be significantly less expensive.
it's two follow-up questions, but sorry, back in the weeds on trash. So just now you said the payoff period for the cans is 5 years, is that correct?
That is the budget model, yes.
Okay, but we currently would end our trash contract on June 30th of 2030, is that correct?
Well, that doesn't mean that we would end trash, but yes, the Republic contract is through FY30.
Okay, but then the cans are not through Republic then, is that correct? They
No,
are through a
that's
third-
why,
Okay.
that's
So
the
cans are
advantage
a third- okay.
that's the advantage to purchasing them privately, is we are not obligated to renew with Republic if we can get a better deal with a different company.
And then Republic, does Republic have to essentially enter into a separate contract with this cart company that says yep, these
No,
are the,
no,
or
'cause
they
the-
all intermediary to us?
Yes.
Intermediary, okay.
Yes.
And then, last one, I think, if you could remind me, how were the cart sizes decided? Sort of goes back to that.
It's in the Republic contract, the 64 and 96.
Okay, so Republic dictates the size, but
Mm-hmm.
then who we procure the carts from is at our leisure. It could be directly through Republic,
No.
or
it
they
will
won't
not
do it
be-
at all?
No, because
Okay,
we would use the state contract,
okay,
and we would negotiate through the state contract.
on carts specifically?
On
Because
carts
because the state already has a mechanism in place for cart procurement.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The entire trash thing has me freaked out.
Yeah, I can tell.
It's a
And-
little like, I feel like it's just so undefined that I'm gonna wind up with people asking me to pick up a cart, someone stole their recycling bin, their grandma can't wheel it down the thing. I'm serious, like, this is the real life.
I
of
would
me
advise
living
you to
here.
vote against it.
I would just,
I mean, the reality is, this is a decision that your community has to make. I'm presenting an option that removes trash from becoming a political football at town meetings forever. It is the one negotiable, non-mandated service that you have, that you will be able to tell people every 5 years, we can't afford trash. The only way to keep that from happening every 5 years is to take it out of your operational budget. It also does, as a secondary win for the town, is it reduces the amount of deficit that you have. But I think the primary reason for bringing this forward is to give your residents the opportunity to say, this is not something I want to argue about at town meeting every 5 years. And if they,
we wanna do it on Facebook every 2 days.
and that's their decision to make. I sat here at your last meeting and said that the town will balance the FY27 budget, whether this is approved or not.
All right, so I'm gonna leave this, I'm gonna say, I only have one other question. I know on here, there is an endorsement. Does anyone else have any other questions or concerns about the wording of the motions? I only have one other, and it is around the Article 6. So Article 6 has 2 items for capital investment, the flail mower attachment, and a dump truck with plow assembly, and the cemetery wall rebuild. So the cemetery wall is gonna do free cash. Why is it on this one? Why is it not on the other Article 5? Right, 'cause
Because it's a capital item. So your capital policy has a specific definition for capital costs. So the under Article 5, you are adding money to your current FY26 budget,
Yep.
okay?
I've just never
so-
had that
so-
motion in article, so usually they they move an article for capital investment. They do that, but not
So
also free cash use.
So
They
I
don't
asked-
usually do
I
both.
asked Leslie to go back and look at precedent, You have had capital articles
That had free cash?
that have had more than one funding source. The reality is that CIB, actually, I think, because we learned earlier this week that the municipal light plant does not want to share the cost burden of that flail mower. So the CIB will have to make a recommendation whether they want to use their funds to purchase the flail mower outright for the $191,000, or if they will recommend passing over it. So that's, they're the ones that have control over that money. So it would be their recommendation.
So that'll be my next question. So I want to make sure I know they're meeting on it. Typically, CIB articles, they make a recommendation to the select board. They're not.
They have made a recommendation to
When did they
use free
vote to
cash.
do the flail mower? When did they approve that one? To be a recommendation to be
Last,
on the board?
last Thursday.
So last Thursday, you approved half of that? Half of, to pay from CIB?
Yep, and half,
Okay.
so we would appropriate the full amount and then bill MLP, but they've decided not to move forward with that.
Okay, and then dump
They
truck
voted-
is fully us, fully capital.
CIB, and they made a motion to recommend the use of free cash for the cemetery wall.
Okay, so usually the recommendation comes in writing where Ray comes. So that's why I had sent you that note. He comes and says,
Yep.
we are doing this. They usually do a yearly thing, like in the spring meeting or when we have one towards the summer. I want to make sure that this article does not turn into, they decide not to fund it and make a motion to fund that out of free cash at $191,000. Like, I'm saying this because I
wouldn't support it.
well, it's on here though, and we're 5 days, like, you know what I mean? So will this get modified, and will you let us know after their meeting if this is changed?
So the motions can change, even though, as we discussed, you feel like they're in flux, and I apologize that you feel like this is in flux. So the only article that it was in flux was Article 5 by adding the items that would be covered under the new growth. So I will.
And Article 6. So Flux also, we voted on this in September. They had not met or voted to approve any of these. So influx means we don't, as a select board, vote to use CIB money without CIB voting to approve money. So when I say influx, it's not one article, right? So there were things changing. I want to make sure that whatever they're doing tonight in their meeting, they alert you, and then you tell us before I get this sitting on the meeting room floor that the words are going to be different,
Let me ask you
they
this.
decided to use free cash, and now I'm standing up saying that's ridiculous, we're not doing it.
If they vote to not recommend the flail mower, you won't see that flail
Okay.
mower in the packet because it's.
It's expensive.
And going back to why we don't put numbers in articles, because this way we have the flexibility to make the modifications to the motions when they need to change after you've approved the warrant.
Okay. So that was my question there, and the next one, depending on how they vote tonight, could modify what is left in the balance of Article 7.
Correct.
Okay. Any other
Because
questions?
we certainly would not reimburse them for something that they don't spend.
All right, anyone else have any questions on these? Any concerns on these? If not, I would if anyone has any motions to endorse articles, I know I got questions about this. I have looked at other towns, not everyone does this, but we do it. I don't know why, I actually wish we would stop, but
I'd actually like to suggest that we stop endorsing because we're already putting these forward. Like, we're doing this. Like, if other boards want to endorse something, great. I just think it's an odd practice to say that we endorse some and not endorse others. We're allowing them to be on the warrant, and so I think that speaks volumes, and we can vote whichever way we choose. I don't think as a board, we need to endorse every single, or pick which articles we're gonna endorse and not, because I don't wanna hurt anyone's feelings on some of them, and on some of them, I know we're gonna be split. That's my feeling.
I mean, I think the warrant itself means that we think these things are worthy of consideration. And by putting a super worthy of consideration stamp on it doesn't
Exactly.
change anything, so I'm fine with that.
I don't care.
Do you guys care? Do you care? Yeah, well.
You can speak for it.
Well,
I strongly think of some
yeah,
articles.
That's fair. That's fair. You can always get up as citizen and.
You can always get up and speak for it, yes.
I only do when Raj does to.
Yeah, I will speak for one article, so don't worry.
I would, I don't, I mean, I like the endorsement, but the reality is, I said this to someone, I voted to put it on the warrant. I don't,
Yeah, but-
we don't have to do that.
The thing is, you
And we
know,
say no.
the thing is, you know, yesterday the school English teacher, he asked whether you are endorsing it.
Yeah.
So how are you going to say that? You know, and also the planning board is going to endorse some article, this will endorse some article, that's, we have it, but if, you know,
We
we
answered,
are recommending all this article to go to the town meeting. It's up to the town registered voters. They have to say it, yes. It's not me, or it's not Jay, or it's not Christina to say.
the answer is we're out of the business of endorsing things as a matter of practice.
Yep.
All right. So all of us say we're just gonna, we're gonna leave this alone?
The
and
warrant
people
speaks
can
for
yell at us.
itself.
Okay. All right. So, town administrator report, it's only 8:30. You don't have any with just what we went over today?
I have absolutely nothing to report.
That's
I just have
a great report.
Question, why was this put on the agenda and crossed out at the same time?
Because he doesn't want to work here.
Oh. I don't know.
They're just not starting. Right?
So, when the warrant had to be posted, we wanted to make sure that we were leaving the option to appoint that individual. We asked for an opinion from council, and that came in, that changed the way we wanted to move forward. So
Okay.
we struck it from the agenda.
Got it.
That's the absolute
Curious.
truthful.
Yep.
Sometimes in order to make the agenda posting deadline, we have to make a judgment call.
Okay.
That was the wrong one.
All right, meeting invitations and announcements. I don't know if anyone knows this, but we have our annual, semi-annual town meeting happening on October 20th up at the middle high school. We're doing Touch a Truck at the West Boylston Police Department, and there we have a donation of 40 pumpkins that you can come with your children and paint or do stickers, and a ton of vehicles, including the airboat that is currently on the DCR property, and refreshments. So please share that and come, you don't want to come to my truck event, fine. And then Fall Fest, I do want to say one thing, so Touch a Truck does not have vendors. So there's these posts saying that I'm taking vendors. There's no vendors at Touch a Truck. And if you signed up to be a vendor at Touch a Truck, you can't come because we don't have vendors or room.
Just the trucks, man.
Just the trucks. So that is one. And the next one, Fall Fest, I also believe they're having the same problem I'm having where people are trying to say they're signed up for vendors all over the account. I think they're closed from what I saw today on vendors. Future agenda items, I don't even know where to start. I would have to go through emails. Anyone else have future agenda items?
I
do.
David? No.
So, one question, so we had on, so we agreed on a fall vendor license, for this restaurant this evening. We,
Waive the fees.
Waive the
yes,
fees.
thank you, yeah, thank you, my brain's starting to fade here. On the prior ones, we waived the fees, have we been
I
asked?
assumed it was the same for this one. The license has 0 fee.
Okay, perfect, thank you, just want to make sure that we're being level playing field, so.
Anyone, future agenda items?
I just wanted to mention just about town meeting, that there is going to be babysitting provided. You do have to sign your children up ahead of time, and there's a link.
And the link is, if you use your mailer to go to the QR code, that link is on that same site, or you can just go to the town's homepage under news and announcements for the semi-annual town meeting, and that babysitting link is there.
I also want to make an announcement that the select board, including myself, does not run town meeting. I know a lot of you are sending me requests that I mandate to close the meeting in 3 hours. It is not my meeting. I do not have control over it, neither does our town administrator, Faye. No one here can close that meeting. It is run by the moderator. It is his meeting. So I'm telling you this because you all keep contacting me. Any select board reports?
So one of the, regarding the town meeting, one other thing is, we do have the handicap parking. Some of them asked it, yes. And also I think, the clicker will be working.
The clickers will be working.
So, but still, I want to raise my hand,
Yeah.
like Mark.
There'll be five check-in stations. We have the 5 polling pads.
So it's,
Oh, that's more than normal, correct?
We had 3 last time.
Great.
so
Do you
it's,
want us there a half hour before?
Check-in will open at 5.
They have a posted meeting at 5:30.
We have a posted meeting at
5:30 in the
5:30.
cafeteria, okay.
and the one other thing is, we were sitting for half an hour yesterday at the CPC meeting. One of the CPC committee is the, not an ordinary committee, that funds the projects and other things, important meeting. So we were sitting there for half an hour.
Did no one show up?
Nobody showed up.
Oh.
No quorum. This is the, So the problem is, maybe you can take a look at the Historic Commission. Beverly Goodell is not anymore. So maybe we need one from the Historic Commission and also from the housing. We need one more member. So with that, maybe we
Housing
could,
Authority or Affordable Housing Trust?
housing,
Housing Authority.
Housing Authority. Housing Authority. I think, they are having a conversation with Chris Berglund.
Okay.
I don't know, I don't want to put him on the online.
Well, you just did.
Okay.
So with that 2 seats, maybe we may get the quorum. So, that was so sad, sitting there for half an hour.
Was the chair or the vice chair there?
Nope, that's another sad.
Okay, all right. One other thing I would just say, I have been requested on why West Boylston does not have a community refrigerator.
Would you like one?
Is this a real thing?
Could you,
So
could
we
you
had
please
one
add context?
in Shelburne Falls that was incredibly popular and
It was.
well-used, and yeah, absolutely, it's a thing.
And could you describe the main purposes of that?
I can read it to you, hold on, because this was my
People that
second
have
request
food
today.
insecurity,
Provide the alcohol.
So it's used as like a donation?
yeah.
So it's like fresh food and people can come if they need it, and it's stocked with vegetables and drinks. And then they asked me why we don't have one, and then asked me why don't I do a fundraiser to stock
I think
one.
that's one of those health and safety, right?
Yeah, who's gonna?
So
monitor?
who is going to monitor it? If you have the
So
produce,
you would- Yeah, so
that's one of those things. I did
generally,
that.
it is organized by a nonprofit, like a food pantry. It would be perhaps an extension of your food pantry, or a other social service group that would moderate it and clean it. and
It
keep
did came
safe.
up some time back, that was one of the major reason.
Yep.
So anyone can bring in any of those things, So the town will be liable for that if something happened.
Only if it's on town property.
Right. All right, I'm gonna leave that one alone, since now I know it's a thing. Do I have a motion to adjourn, or do you guys wanna stay here? I'm fine, we'll just stay. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Yes.
Thank you.